When you think of the Everglades in Florida, you think of peace, beauty, and stillness. But when a mother of four suddenly vanishes, everything shifts. What mysterious turn of events led to her vanishing, and what crucial details could have slipped through the cracks? As concern grows among family and friends, investigators must piece together what happened and uncover the truth behind her sudden disappearance. What happens when love becomes fatal? This is the Fatal Attraction Podcast with Evil in the Everglades.
November 7th, 2021. In this city nestled between the Atlantic and the Everglades, everyday life in Fort Lauderdale, Florida is never far from the water.
The reason why Fort Lauderdale was dubbed Venice of America was because of the waterway.
Fort Lauderdale is a beautiful city with plenty of palm trees, beautiful weather, plenty of beaches, and beautiful people.
But this Sunday, one of those people has suddenly gone missing.
On November 7th, Ernest Gordon called into the Broward County Police Department to let them know that he had not seen his wife, Wanda, in 3 days.
Last time I saw her was Thursday when she left for work.
When he came home that night at 6 p.m., she's not there.
Ernest said he wasn't worried at first.
Initially, he thought maybe she's with her friends, maybe she's blowing off steam.
But then she didn't come home at all that night.
And she didn't show up at work on Friday.
That's when he started to get worried.
Ernest had been constantly calling her, texting her. She was not responding.
I'm afraid something's happened to her.
She would never just leave without notifying anyone.
Ernest Gordon was Wanda's second husband. The 42-year-old mother of four had married Keith Morris when they were both teenagers.
When I first got with Wanda, I was 16 years old. You know, we were kids. But I actually admired Wanda from a distance at first. Every time I seen her, it's like she had a beautiful smile that lit up a room.
Once they were together, Wanda and Keith wasted little time before starting a family.
She became a family woman, and at the end of the day, it always was family first.
You have someone who is very attentive, very loving.
But going from teenagers to parents put a strain on their relationship.
She used to get me to do a lot of things, you know, that I really didn't feel like doing, but it's like we always argued.
Wanda and Keith eventually split up.
It was hard, you know, with the separation.
But the couple didn't divorce until after Wanda started dating Ernest Gordon.
They met while Wanda was working as a school crossing guard.
How you learn to handle all them kids?
Well, I do have 4 of my own.
4?
Yes.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes, and I love each and every one of them.
Usually in the dating pool, if a woman has children, men tend to shy away from that because that's responsibility. And so typically we as women, when we find a man that takes interest in us and our children, we're thinking, yep, this could be the right man for me.
Soon the two were seeing each other on a regular basis.
She meets this man who not only does she fall in love with, but he falls in love with her, he falls in love with her children, and most important of all, her children fall in love with Ernest.
He was very good to them.
3 years after her separation from her first husband, Wanda was ready to take a second chance with Keith's blessing.
I said, I see you happy, so let me go ahead and divorce you so you can get married to who you really want to be with.
Once her divorce was final, Wanda and Ernest married.
Ernest steps up. He takes on the children, especially the youngest, as if they were his very own. And it's a really nice, tight-knit, close family.
But now, the woman at the heart of that tight-knit family is missing. and no one has heard from her in 3 days.
I'm afraid something's happened to her.
An operator with the Broward County Sheriff's Office dispatches investigators to their home to file a missing persons report.
When police show up to interview Ernest, he's visibly upset, he's distraught, he's concerned.
He told them what he told the dispatcher over the phone, that he hadn't seen Wanda in 3 whole days.
Her purse is gone, and I can't find her phone.
The fact that her purse, her wallet, and her cell phone was missing may be an indication that she left on her own free will and that at the moment she did not want to be found.
Although how she left is unclear.
Ernest told detectives that Wanda's car was parked outside.
You think someone gave your wife a ride?
I don't know.
Even if nothing happened and Wanda was fine, Ernest says she can still be in danger.
His wife was on various medications that she was taking on a daily basis.
She had a number of medical conditions. She had seizures, she suffered from depression, she had blood clots.
But according to Ernest, all of Wanda's pills are still in the cabinet.
And so with her being without her medication, there's a huge concern.
If she doesn't take her medicine, she could get real sick or worse.
They only had so much time to find her.
There is more to the story than anyone ever realized. Stay tuned as it all begins to unfold. This is the Fatal Attraction Podcast.
Now with McDonald's, wake up to a $4 breakfast meal deal. Wake up to a sausage McMuffin or sausage biscuit, to hash browns, and wake up to a hot coffee. Get your $4 breakfast meal deal.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery.
Working on building a dream space, but don't know where to start? At the Home Depot, we can help you bring your dream project to life. Whether you're building a backyard oasis, a podcast studio, or a wellness space, we've got everything you need in store and online. With project guides and free delivery options, it's easy to go from dreaming to doing. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Mother of 4, Wanda Gordon, had made a fresh start with her second husband, Ernest.
It takes a special type of person to take on another man's children and raise them as if they were his own.
But now Ernest has called the Broward County Sheriff's Office to his home to report that Wanda is missing.
No one had heard or seen Wanda in 3 days.
She didn't have her medicine with her when she disappeared. So this is really troubling to Ernest.
But it's unclear if something had happened or if she'd left of her own accord.
It doesn't look like anything unusual happened in the residence.
But her purse and her cell phone were also missing.
However, if Wanda left, she may not have been alone.
Her car was in the driveway.
You think someone gave your wife a ride?
I don't know.
But what Ernest says next adds an entirely new twist to the investigation.
Any idea if your wife was seeing someone else?
Well, to be honest, I'm not sure.
Ernest reveals that they were separated. They were still legally married, but separated and living in the house together.
It's my fault. We had a really good thing going, but I messed it up.
A year ago, Wanda had caught him cheating.
They're still living together because they want to have a united front for the children.
Ernest says that wasn't the only reason he stayed, though.
Ernest was on the page of, I want to fix this. I want to make this work. I have seen the error of my ways.
But he admitted that Wanda wasn't ready to believe him, much less take him back.
According to Ernest, that's why he wasn't at all concerned when she didn't come home Thursday night.
Maybe she was blowing off steam.
Or maybe she was looking to escape from her problems permanently.
You said one of her medicines was for depression, right?
Yeah.
The thought did occur that maybe she had done something to herself.
But when detectives ask, Ernest insists that suicide is out of the question.
Ernest said that there was no way that she had done anything to herself.
I can't believe she'd do that to the kids. She wouldn't want to hurt them like that.
When detectives follow up with Wanda's oldest son, who still lives in the home, he says his mother seemed fine the last time he saw her.
Wanda's 19-year-old son indicated that he had seen his mom on November 4th.
He saw her around 4 p.m. It was, business as usual. Her mood didn't seem off. Nothing raised any flags.
What exactly did she say to you?
We didn't talk a lot. She was on the phone.
You know who she was talking to?
Some guy, I think.
He knew his mom was dating after the recent separation with Ernest.
He told detectives that he wasn't sure if Ernest knew that Wanda had started dating again, but at the same time, Wanda was not trying to keep it a secret.
Exactly who she had been seeing? Her son had no idea.
All he knows is that was the last time he saw her.
Wanda's son shared with detectives that when he woke up on the morning of November 5th, he did not see his mother's car in the driveway around 7 o'clock.
Didn't really think anything of it. He went back to sleep.
When he woke up again around 8:30, he saw the car in the driveway.
So, Wanda's son had gone to her bedroom to check on her.
Ma, you home?
Wanda wasn't home, and it didn't look as if she'd been home the night before.
It looked as though she had not slept in the bed.
It was as if his mom had not even been there at all.
Her son's account fits with what Ernest told the police.
Ernest said he didn't see Wanda's car in the driveway when he left for work at 6 in the morning. So that leaves 90 minutes where no one had eyes on the driveway.
So someone had dropped the car off in that 90-minute window.
But where was Wanda now? And why would she leave without telling anyone?
Your mom and stepdad are separated, right?
Yeah, it's complicated.
They fight?
Sometimes.
They argued, but there was absolutely never any violence.
Ernest is he's a good guy. He's made some mistakes, but...
You think he had something to do with your mother being gone?
No, not Ernest.
He said he couldn't even fathom Ernest being violent.
Thank you. We'll be in touch.
Hoping to learn more about Wanda's love life, detectives return to the station and reach out to her sister, Lucy.
They spoke to each other not just daily, but several times a day.
She told Lucy everything.
Including things she didn't tell her husband.
So you knew Wanda was dating again?
Oh, yeah.
Wanda had been using social media and online dating to try and meet suitable gentlemen.
Wanda's sister was clear that she thought they weren't all that suitable, though.
She had met some guys that were kind of weird.
What do you mean, weird?
It's embarrassing.
She says her sister started dabbling in some kind of sexual fetish, and that a lot of the men that she's speaking to on these apps are also involved in this type of sexual fetish.
What kind of things were they into?
She didn't tell me much, but it all felt strange.
Okay, did she actually meet anyone?
Well, she had been talking to this one guy.
Lucy pressed her sister for details about the guy, but Wanda was a little reluctant to give too many details.
She didn't know the guy's name.
But she did know when they were planning to meet.
Their first date was supposed to be on the night of the 4th.
That was the night that she disappeared.
The mystery of the disappearance is deeply unsettling. As detectives dig deeper in their quest for answers, a web of deceit starts to unravel, revealing secrets that can change everything. Stay tuned for more of the Fatal Attraction Podcast.
Wanda Gordon's sister has told detectives that on the night the mother of four went missing, Wanda had a date with a man she'd met online.
Wanda and this gentleman that she was preparing to meet with had only been communicating through social media. This would be their very first time meeting each other face to face.
She didn't tell me his name.
Did she tell you anything about him?
Just that he was into what she was.
Wanda seemed excited, but that's really all Lucy knew.
Could the mystery man Wanda met online have something to do with her disappearance?
What happens if they went on a date and that date went bad?
There's always a fear that kind of hovers around online dating and meeting people through social media.
Is it possible that she met somebody? Absolutely. Is it possible that somebody wanted to cause harm to her? Absolutely.
After talking to Wanda's sister, the detectives focus on identifying Wanda's online suitor.
To Lucy's knowledge, Wanda and this gentleman that she was preparing to meet with had only been communicating through the dating app,
which is where the detectives run into a roadblock.
The detectives had no idea what her username was or her password or even the email that she used to get into the site.
While detectives are spinning their wheels in cyberspace, Wanda's family is on the street, spreading the word that she's missing.
They put up flyers, speak to people themselves. They do a whole social media campaign.
Media outlets began airing the story.
And before too long, their efforts produce results.
After seeing a story on the news, the man Wanda had gone out with reached out to detectives.
His name is Tyrone Watkins.
He was very cooperative, willing to answer all of their questions.
Tyrone confirms that he and Wanda had been messaging for over a month.
He shows them text messages, the normal pre-date flirting.
But did you actually meet?
Yeah, just that one time.
The first time they met was on November 4th.
Tyrone says they met near the beach in Fort Lauderdale.
Now, despite the fact that they hooked up on a fetish site, what Tyrone described was surprisingly tame.
They hung out and they chatted, and they had a really, really nice time.
But according to Tyrone, that's when he learned that Wanda hadn't been entirely upfront with him.
There's something I really need to tell you.
Wanda revealed to him that she was still married, but planning to leave her husband.
It didn't sit right with Tyrone.
He wasn't comfortable with dating a married woman.
That make her mad?
Nah, she was cool with it.
He says they parted on friendly terms.
Tyrone asked her to text him to let him know that she had made it home safely.
He's being the true gentleman. Make sure that the woman gets home safe.
Tyrone says she didn't actually text him until after 1 o'clock that morning.
By then, he was asleep.
Tyrone said he then texted Wanda later in the morning around 9:20, and he never heard back.
Any idea why it was so late? Did she text you?
She said she was going to the beach for a while. She seemed like she had a lot on her mind.
You still have that text too?
Yeah, it's all here.
When the detectives examine Tyrone's cell phone, it appears he's telling the truth.
They confirmed that Wanda sent a text to him letting him know that she got home.
He also shows them a receipt from the parking garage that he was in, and it's time-stamped, it's dated.
And when detectives pull footage from the city's beachfront surveillance cameras, they confirm that Tyrone and Wanda parted ways amicably.
Nothing unusual happened. She didn't seem distressed or disturbed. It was just sort of a normal, nice date.
However, something doesn't add up.
Tyrone says that Wanda was home at 1:20 in the morning, safe and sound, but Ernest says his wife never came home at all. Both stories can't be right.
Detectives needed to speak with Ernest again about the inconsistencies in his story.
So this time, detectives call Ernest down to the station to answer additional questions.
You said she never came in?
Look, all I know is she wasn't home when I went to bed or when I left for work the next morning.
When was that?
I was asleep by 11:30 or so, and I leave for work at 6.
It's possible that she did come home, but he was sleeping.
Since they were sleeping in separate bedrooms, it's likely he wouldn't hear her come in.
So Ernest is standing by what he said.
However, he also has a new lead for the detectives.
Ernest offers up a new suspect, Keith Morris, Wanda's ex-husband.
Look, what I think y'all should do, in my opinion, is look into this Keith Morris. Him and Wanda, they was having custody issues.
According to Ernest, Keith had been acting strangely ever since Wanda went missing.
He says that after Wanda disappeared, Keith showed up at the house.
He's at the door. He wants the children.
I'm just here for my kids. I don't want any problems.
They're in my house. They're gonna stay in my house.
The answers exist, but they are not coming easily. Stay tuned as detectives draw closer to the truth.
Now at McDonald's, a McDouble is only $2.50. So you can get your gym gains on or just get lunch for only $2.50. Get more value on the under $3 menu.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Working on building a dream space, but don't know where to start? At the Home Depot, we can help you bring your dream project to life. Whether you're building a backyard oasis, a podcast studio, or a wellness space, we've got everything you need in store and online. With project guides and free delivery options, it's easy to go from dreaming to doing. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
But she wasn't home for long.
A couple of hours later, the GPS shows that she leaves again. Her phone started moving away from the home again at around 4 a.m.
Both Ernest and Tyrone's stories might be correct. You know, Tyrone said she was home at 1:20, and Ernest said she may have left before he woke up at 6 a.m. And clearly, the GPS shows that she left at 4 a.m.
The GPS track leads west out of Fort Lauderdale towards the Everglades.
Her phone stopped in a rural area about 4:33 a.m.
GPS shows that her phone is there for a little while, maybe about 20 minutes, and then it shows that it leaves and goes to a different, secluded area.
The phone stays in that location until the battery ends up dying at around 1 o'clock in the morning on November 7th.
Police, retracing Wanda's steps, head out to the place where her phone was at 4:33 in the morning.
It turns out to be a large and well-secured construction site.
There are surveillance cameras everywhere around this construction site.
The owners did not want anyone coming out there stealing their equipment.
But could the cameras also tell the detectives something about Wanda's disappearance?
Police get a subpoena for the surveillance video.
When they view the footage from that particular morning, they see a white pickup truck pull in and then just sit there.
Until, after about 15 minutes, a Florida Wildlife Commission officer pulls up behind the pickup.
The Florida Wildlife Commission officer actually gets out of the car.
The wildlife conservation guy has a conversation with the guy in the white pickup truck. That's all documented on film.
Then they both leave the area.
The white pickup truck heads out, heading in the same direction, the same route that Wanda's phone is, according to the GPS records.
Detectives reach out to the Florida Wildlife Conservation and are eventually able to locate the officer in the video.
When they asked him to come in and talk to them, the wildlife officer said that he approached the truck on a suspicion of illegal dumping.
He says that he assumed that that is what this gentleman was doing because he saw 3 large garbage bags in the bed of the truck.
He actually took a picture of the bags in the back of the truck.
Then he let the man off with a warning.
The dumpsters here, they're for construction debris only.
He had a conversation with the gentleman about illegal dumping. The gentleman stated that that's not the reason he was there. He said he only came out there to clear his head because he had some things on his mind.
And based on what detectives learned next from the wildlife officer, they suspect that what the man had on his mind was murder.
All right. Drive safe.
Thank you, sir.
The driver was Ernest Gordon.
Stay with us for more of the Fatal Attraction Podcast.
Detectives investigating Wanda Gordon's disappearance have traced her husband Ernest to the same location as Wanda's cell phone at 4:30 on the morning she disappeared.
They have an eyewitness that puts Ernest at the scene, but Ernest told detectives that he was home sleeping all night long.
The lie isn't all that makes Ernest the prime suspect in what police now believe is a homicide.
The location where a wildlife officer approached Ernest was on the edge of the Everglades.
Unfortunately, at this point, the police are no longer looking for a missing person. They're actually looking for Wanda's body.
And detectives have a pretty good idea where they'll find it, too.
They had the GPS information from Wanda's phone.
The last known location of the cell phone before it died was a very swampy, wooded area in Tamarack, Florida.
Despite the difficult terrain, the searchers soon find something.
They find a black cell phone. They find several articles of clothing. They find red and black dreadlocks that actually match the dreadlocks that Wanda used to wear in her hair.
They also note an odor foul enough to pierce the pungent Everglades air.
Looks like it's probably something in there.
Kind of looking, I didn't want to
see how you have a lot of that decomp stuff around there.
You could possibly smell the decomp depending on how long she's been out there.
Tracing the odor to its source, the searchers start to uncover human remains.
It's one of two, the other one's over here.
Eventually, the gruesome search yields more remains.
They actually found a human jawbone and a skull.
The detectives assume they found Wanda, but the autopsy is unable to confirm it.
Just looking at the skull and at the jawbone, the medical examiner thinks that they belong to a female. But unfortunately, there's so much decay that they can't say for certain that these are Wanda's remains.
Whoever she was, the autopsy revealed how she died.
The medical examiner discovered a large fracture on the side of the skull and determined that this was the fatal wound.
However, before they can charge Ernest with murder, detectives will have to confirm that the remains are Wanda's.
They had to secure DNA from Wanda's daughter.
However, the results would take some time to find out if there was a match.
While they wait, the detectives attempt to put Ernest closer to the location where they found the remains.
They contact the Tamarack Police Department and they ask them if they can review traffic cameras.
Since it was deep in the swamp, there weren't any cameras in the close proximity where the police found the remains. But there were several in the broader vicinity.
Wouldn't you know it, right there on tape, about 5 miles from the dump site, there's Ernest's truck, captured on camera.
However, there is one thing the camera doesn't capture.
The garbage bags are no longer in the back of Ernest's truck.
It looked like Ernest was engaged in a little illegal dumping after all.
To strengthen the evidence further, detectives also subpoena Ernest's cell phone records.
Police take a look now into Ernest's GPS to see if they can trace his movement to that particular location.
During the time that Wanda's phone was moving, Ernest's phone was not moving. In fact, his phone was still at the house.
They figured that he deliberately left his cell phone home to throw off the investigation.
However, the records also revealed that on the following night, Ernest neglected to leave his phone behind.
Ernest had traveled to the exact location where the remains were found at 11 o'clock that night on November the 5th.
Was he checking to make sure that the body was not visible, was not in plain sight?
For him to go back to that location showed that he knew where she was at. It showed that he was involved.
With proof putting Ernest at the location where the body was found, the detectives bring him in for another round of questioning.
We just want to go over your movements on November 4th and 5th.
Okay, but I already told you guys everything. Everything?
But then he remembers something he hadn't told them.
When they asked him about the Florida Wildlife Commissioner stopping him that evening, he stated that he had forgot that he had gone out.
He claimed that he was just driving around to clear his head.
Then he said he went straight home.
You didn't stop and throw anything away?
What do you mean?
According to the wildlife officer, you had some garbage bags in the back of your truck.
He's got an answer for that, too. He says, oh, those bags were from some landscaping I had done.
He said he threw them out a few days later.
You sure about that?
The police keep putting pressure on Ernest.
Officers informed him that his pickup truck had been caught on a traffic camera.
And eventually, Ernest starts to crack.
I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know where.
Stay tuned as it all begins to unfold. This is the Fatal Attraction Podcast.
Now at McDonald's, a sausage McMuffin is only $1.50. So stop dreaming about breakfast sausage and go get it. Get more value on the under $3 menu.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery.
Working on building a dream space, but don't know where to start? At the Home Depot, we can help you bring your dream project to life. Whether you're building a backyard oasis, a podcast studio, or a wellness space, we've got everything you need in store and online. With project guides and free delivery options, it's easy to go from dreaming to doing. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
When detectives confront Ernest Gordon about the suspicious drive he took to the Everglades the night his wife Wanda disappeared, they believe his response is telling.
He breaks down, he's devastated, he's crying.
But Ernest's tears aren't followed by a confession.
I don't know what happened. Look, I don't know anything.
In spite of all of this evidence that they are presenting before him, he maintains that he does not know what happened to Wanda.
He didn't admit that he killed her. He didn't deny it. He basically just had no explanation.
Instead, he stops the interview and asks for an attorney.
I want a lawyer.
They say, is it because you had something to do with your wife's disappearance or death? He refuses to answer.
Detectives are sure they found Wanda's killer. All they lack is proof that they found her.
The remains, the skull and the jawbone, haven't been identified yet.
They have no confirmation as to who that body was, so they had to let Ernest go.
But even as Ernest walks, the detectives keep digging.
Officers have enough evidence to get a search warrant for the Gordon's home and also for Ernest's white pickup truck.
They searched both using a chemical called luminol, which reacts with blood under black light.
They find blood. Lots of blood in Wanda's bedroom.
The luminol test also finds blood in the back of Ernest's pickup.
It revealed traces of blood in the same area where those 3 trash bags were located, on the back of Ernest's truck.
Between the blood, cell phone records, and other evidence, the detectives develop a clear picture of how the crime most likely occurred.
They had a theory that Ernest was actually up waiting for Wanda to come home, knowing that she had been out on a date.
Wanda returned home from her date around 1:20 in the morning, and Ernest was waiting. And Ernest was mad.
Stop! I know what you've been doing. It's not your business what I'm doing. I'm not gonna tell you.
They got into an argument over either the divorce or the infidelity, her moving on and going out and dating other people.
He was not able to handle the fact that she was out seeing other people.
So, the situation escalated.
Don't you walk away from me!
Ernest had lost control. Not just in the heat of the moment, he lost control over how Wanda saw him when the infidelity happened.
And desperate to regain it, he lashed out.
Ernest must have picked up a blunt, heavy object and hit Wanda.
He hit her on the side of the head, which was fatal.
Once he realized what he did and that she was dead, he tried to cover it up.
And now all detectives need is the one piece of evidence to tie everything together: Wanda's DNA.
On December 9th, the results are in, and it shows conclusively that the remains found in the swamp are those, unfortunately, of Wanda Gordon.
An arrest warrant was issued for Ernest. He was taken into custody the very next day.
He's charged with second-degree murder.
As a trial date approaches, Ernest faces reality.
His lawyer came to me and told me out front that he doesn't want to go to trial. The agreement was that in return for a guilty plea, he would be sentenced to 50 years in Florida State Prison.
It's also essentially a life sentence.
He is in his 40s, so he will be in his 90s when and if he ever gets out.
But no matter how long Ernest spends in prison, it doesn't ease the pain of losing Wanda.
You took somebody away despite the ups and downs that me and her had. You took somebody away that is dear to me and my children.
The family's going to be feeling the fallout of that forever.
Deceit can have a lasting impact on any relationship, breaking trust in ways that cannot be undone. Love should never end in harm, and no family should have to wait in agony, wondering if their loved one will ever return home. Wanda Gordon meant everything to those who knew her, a mother, a relative, and a friend. She leaves behind a legacy rooted in love, compassion, and unwavering support. Her memory will live on through the lives she touched and the care she showed to those around her.
He was a dedicated coach and mentor.
He was passionate about coaching students in high school.
His players loved him.
Dion, you know these plays.
He was a father figure to them.
But off the field, he was a player too.
He was dating multiple women.
I've always known him to be friendly with the ladies.
He's just having fun and loving life.
Until it came to a shocking end.
There's a foul odor coming out of the house.
He's been shot multiple times.
These kinds of crimes are passion-filled.
In Houston, Texas, calls to a beloved and respected coach are going unanswered. When he fails to show up for a game, students, teachers, and fellow coaches are left wondering why. But when someone who is always there suddenly isn't, questions begin to surface. And as friends start trying to reach him, what follows is anything but ordinary. Tune in to the next episode of the Fatal Attraction Podcast. We will see you in the next episode.